Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about reverb and I'm going to give you a few tricks that you can use to make it better in your mix or in your production. But without talking too much, let's just jump straight into Pro Tools and let me show you. As you can see here we have a simple vocal track, dry, no effect, no anything. It sounds like
There's
this.
a space between.
Perfect. Now we're going to add a reverb. The first suggestion that I can do is do not use reverb directly on your channel. You can add it like this, reverb, and put your reverb straight into your channel. Of course, you're gonna back down a little bit the mix knob, and it's gonna sound, of course, like this.
There's a space between.
Ooh, that's a very long reverb, but we're not gonna do this. So let's take it off. What are we gonna do instead? We're gonna create a new track, and it's gonna be an auxiliary track, stereo, because the reverb is gonna be stereo. Auxiliary input, and we're gonna call it reverb. Perfect. Next, what are we gonna do? We're gonna assign an input from here, from a bus, and let's pick any 21, 22. Perfect. Rename it so you don't lose track of it. Reverb, as you can guess it. There we go. And now from here, we can send it to our reverb that we just created, which is highlighted in yellow, as you can see here. Perfect. Now we're going to add a stock plugin on our reverb channel. Reverb, we're going to use Diver, it comes with Pro Tools. Make sure this time when it's on a separate track, it's going to be 100% wet. Let's try it.
There's a space between.
Perfect. Now, what we can do after we got our reverb on our channel, we're gonna EQ it. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna get a simple EQ like waves, RQ. It's a trusty, works, it's clean. We're gonna high pass and low pass. So we're gonna get rid of all the unwanted low frequency and then to our frequency. Let's say this time like this should be fine. Let's hear it.
There's a space between.
Why we cutting frequency? So they don't overlap with the frequency of our source. But the reverb is going to be more clean. So don't put it on your track. Open a separate reverb track. Add it there. EQ your reverb. If you EQ it before or after, it doesn't make any difference. You can do it before or you can do it after. Doesn't change anything. The third thing that we can do, we can add a compressor, any stock compressor. I'm gonna use this one, which comes stock. And again, we're gonna assign a send from the vocal. So we want the vocal to trigger the compressor, which is gonna duck the reverb. Let's just do this. I've got one which is called Vox Sidechain Mono, should be fine. Let's get this one. Buzz, Vox Sidechain. There we go. Now. Now let's look.
There's a space between.
Something wrong? What did I do wrong? Vox Sidechain. Vox Sidechain. Maybe it's the wrong one. Vox Sidechain. Vox Sidechain. Sorry, wrong bus. My bad.
There's a space between.
Okay, this what it's gonna do is gonna get off the reverb from the actual source. So it's not gonna clutter it too much, and it's gonna come back again when there are spaces. So when our voice is not singing, we're gonna have the reverb coming back to us, which is gonna again make the mix sound more cleaner. You can do more, but yeah, I'll say with these settings, you can play around with settings and see what's actually works best for you. But this is a good trick.
There's a space between.
And you can hear the reverb when she finished singing. Now, let's try it in bypass.
There's a space between.
It's a little more clutter. You can go back and rehear it. Now, another good, cool trick that we can do, we can add some effects after our reverb to actually make it a little bit more interesting. Let's just say, let's take a flanger. Maybe a little bit more.
There's a space between.
Can you hear it gives the reverb all the weird flanging effect. So we can hear it in, if we do this, so we can put the sand, not the sidechain, but the reverb, we can put it in pre-fader, we can mute the track, so we're gonna hear only the reverb with the effect.
There's a space between.
It's pretty cool. So you can play around with all these kind of tricks to see what works best for you, and of course with the mood of the song, and what kind of genre the track is and anything. But I hope this is going to be helpful, and if you learned something, please subscribe and hit the notification button if you would like to hear more about these tricks and tips about mixing and production, and have a lovely day. Cheers.